now. It's time to get unmasked. Please welcome your host, Pamela Elaine Nichols and Cheryl A.S. Haley.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Unmasked Real Talk Live. This is the place where we get real about topics not often discussed honestly. The topics that we choose support our goal to help you feel better, look better, and live better. So welcome, everyone. Today's raffle prize. Now listen, if you want a raffle, could you please make sure we know we have your address or whatever necessary information we must have to make sure we get you your raffle, because we really want you to have what you won at one of our Real Talk Lives. Okay. Today's raffle prize is a copy of our special guest book. Please don't jump. None of us can help everyone. All of us can help someone. That's a book to read. I love the title. Please don't jump. That's really moving. The names of our viewers will be entered into today's raffle. So I hope that you, and Cheryl, are you going to try to put your name in here?
Well, if I hadn't ordered the book, I would. But since I got the book, yeah. Not today.
I got you.
You gonna put your name in there?
You say it again?
You gonna put your name in there?
Every time I try to get Kayla to put my name in, she just completely ignores my name, and it never shows up. So I don't know what that's about. Our guest today has a mission to help women want to live powerfully. And this mission complements the heart of what Cheryl and I do for every woman that comes on this and watches Unmasked Real Talk Live, and every woman who's part of our private Facebook group. So Cheryl, would you like to introduce today's topic and our guests?
Absolutely. I am honored to do so. Again, welcome everyone. Today's topic is you are stronger than your situations. And as we were chatting before we prepared to come live, we were talking about how much today this is such a needed conversation. But we want you to listen to this pondering thought. When you've stumbled and fallen a few times too many, it can feel hard to get up and you try again. Just sit with that for a moment as we introduce today's guest. Until Dolores E. Jordan published In My Family's Shadow in 2001 and stepped out of the shadows of her family, few people knew Michael Jordan had an older sister. Crediting the autobiography with being the catalyst God used to free her from childhood trauma and subsequent levels of brokenness, Dolores also credits it with ushering her into a life of purpose, and she has not deviated from that calling. She is an inspirational speaker and director of Let's Start a Conversation, Inc., a nonprofit where she steps beyond the isolation of technology to initiate conversations of hope in community settings, and as well as with individuals in need of being encouraged and reminded that they are not alone in their trials. She has a little slogan that she often says, let's just walk it out. And that's something that every time I think about that, it reminds me of her and her mission. Recently, Dolores E. Jordan released her second book, You Are Stronger Than Your Situations. Please don't jump, wherein she writes transparently of her suicidal tendencies with great hope that others will find solace in her appreciation to God for having thwarted each of her attempts. Mind you, each of her attempts, thus allowing her to live out her story and ultimately learn that she was indeed stronger than all of the situations that once made suicide such an attractive option. Enamored with the words God whispered into her being, you are stronger than your situations, became her personal mantra. We are so excited, and I am personally grateful for today's guest, my friend, my sister, Dolores E. Jordan. Dolores, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, ladies. I hadn't seen you in a while, but it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we are honored that you're here. So the floor is yours. We want, like I shared already, Pam and I could not wait for this conversation. And we know we have an awaiting audience for you to talk about you are stronger than your situations, because many of us, and what happens when people look at individuals, they say, well, you got it all together. There's nothing wrong with you. Everything's perfect. But when you put those words to print, please don't jump. You are stronger than your situations. Man, I got these glasses on, but my eyes are tearing up because I could already feel the power in the words that you share. So tell us the heart of that. You are stronger than your situations.
Well, you know what? We don't ever know how strong we are until we are put in situations where we have to pull on that strength. And a lot of times, we often say, if one more thing happens, I'm going to lose it. I can't bear another thing, or, I can't take anymore. And truth of the matter is, how many of us have said that? And look where we are today. We took it. We bared it. We endured it. We really ultimately we were stronger than whatever that situation was. And so I can't even take credit for even those 6 little words, because I often say, being Michael Jordan's sister and having and in the same household, same parents, but Michael's 4 years younger than me. So by the time he got to be who he went on to become, I'd already had some trauma in some situations. And then God pulled us out into the public through Michael's, his talents. And I used to always say, of all the families in the world, you couldn't think of another family to put me in, because I knew he was, so phenomenal and I was so broken. And so, and I was saying to God, in my stumbling, and my, in my pain and my being lost with the life that I did not know how to live based on the things that I had gone through. So I would cry out to God, and I tried suicide 3 times. So you say, when we talk about, my suicide tendencies, I tried suicide to escape pain I didn't know how to handle, confront, embrace, and learn how to overcome. I didn't know that. So sometimes we run from the things that we don't know how to deal with. And so I was a runner. I was running from not having answers and not knowing in the beginning where to find my answers. Not even necessarily think there were any answers for what was wrong with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but in all of my efforts, God kept bringing me back. And I would cry out to him, and he said, Dolores, you're not lost to me. I know exactly where you are. I also know that you're stronger than your situations. So that's where that came from. And he said it to me enough times that I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I kept hearing him say I was stronger than my situations. And over time, he proved that I was. And I love how God, he equips us for how he's going to use us.
Yeah.
Now I look back at my life, and those same difficult moments, they are triumphant moments that now get to use and pay it forward to help other people that may find themselves in some of the situations I used to be in, may have the conversations with themselves that I used to have. And so, I didn't have anybody behind me saying, you can make it, you're strong, other than God saying, and he's enough. But so, but some days we want to tap into that human person, somebody that we can at least touch, you know what I mean? But what I look back at and say, for those that God's going to use, he equips.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the things he uses to equip us, he doesn't promise us that they won't hurt. He won't promise us that that we won't stumble and fall. He promises us that when we stumble and fall, he'll be there to catch us.
Yes.
And so, so you are stronger than your situation came from God, kept whispering that to me. And I didn't embrace it immediately. It was not something I wanted to hear. But you know how he kept saying it until I grabbed onto it and said, well, what do you see in me that I don't see in myself? And then you become curious enough to see Because I tell people all the time, when I look in the mirror, I'll see myself. I see my pain, I see my brokenness, I see my disappointments, I see my failures. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but when God looks at us, he
Yeah.
sees what he created.
Yes.
He sees our ending. He said, I see your ending,
Mm-hmm.
not only just our beginning, our ending. So, he said, I saw your ending before your beginning. So he saw all those middle pieces in between. And he still had a plan. And so finding him,
Mm-hmm.
surrendering to him,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing him to show me who
Mm-hmm.
he was purposing me to become,
Yeah. Yeah.
helped me walk out that.
Yeah.
And so along the way, I kept hearing, you're stronger, Dolores, you can do this. Whatever that hurdle was, you
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah.
I might be doing it crying,
What you could do.
but I'm doing it. So yeah.
You know, as you shared that, there was something that I wanted to ask you because when we talk about Unmasked Real Talk Live and we want people just to hear the rawness of it,
Oh yeah.
what was the shift that you had to take place that you could see what you now, or even begin the journey to walk it out and see what God was trying to show you? Like, what did you have to move out of the way?
Oh, well, part of my story had been having been abused by my father from age 8 to 16. I was a daddy's girl, but I was also sexually abused. Didn't know what that was. Didn't know, some people will refer to it as being raped. Some people will refer to it as being, incest, violated,
Mhm.
and didn't know. And when that was happening to me, there was no point of references.
Mhm.
Like now, there's a lot being, you can go anywhere and find something on sexual abuse.
Mhm.
Now we teach our children, if
Mhm.
somebody touches you, if somebody says anything inappropriate, so where to go to try to get some help. But I
Mhm.
didn't have any of those things. And so I didn't even know that it was abuse. I didn't know that wasn't what dads did to daughters.
Mhm.
I just didn't know.
Mhm.
And when I found out, or when I began to get wind of it, he's my dad. I love him. He loves me. He's always telling me how much he loves me. So there again, you don't know, you don't, I didn't know what to do with that. So I
Mhm.
brought all of that into adulthood. Look, that was my story before Michael came in the NBA.
Mhm.
Michael is 4 years younger than me.
Mhm.
So I told my mother at age 16, Michael's 12. There's no NBA in his life.
Mm.
There's no NBA. So when he came into the NBA, I'm 4 years older than him. So when he came into the NBA, I was already dealing with those issues, and then God elevated my brother to where he came into the NBA. He became such a phenomenal athlete,
Mhm.
business person. I'm still over there, guys. I'm still over
Mm.
there with my brokenness, because if it was not a good time to talk about it before the NBA came,
Wow.
it wasn't going to be a good time to talk about it later. And I don't even talk about it now to discredit my brother. I
Mhm.
don't talk about it even to discredit. I don't even talk about it to discredit my father. I mean,
Right.
truthfully, at
Yeah.
this point in my life, I am so, and when I say this,
Mhm.
friends, don't take it out of context. I
Yeah.
need you to hear what I'm saying. And when I say I am all right with my life, that
Mhm.
is not to say that I agree with being abused.
Mhm.
That is not to say that you get to abuse another person assuming that they're going to be where I am.
Mhm.
Everybody deals with their trauma differently.
Mhm.
The reason why I am so okay with my life, all the totality of my life,
Mhm.
is because I get to use it
Mhm.
to pull other people along. And
Yes.
so when I am talking, I am not talking what I read. I am not talking about what somebody said. I am
Mhm.
talking about what I live.
Mm.
So even when I talk about it, I am not talking about it to discredit. It
Right.
is my truth. It wouldn't change whether my brother was in the NBA or not in the NBA. this is the card that God dealt me. And then he allowed me. And some people say, well, don't blame it on God. But I'm not blaming God, but I know God, nothing happens in life. Absolutely nothing that God does not allow. And so he could have changed my father's mindset because he's powerful enough to do that.
Yes.
He could have took me, any given thing could have happened that could have changed the course of life that I ended up having to journey. He's God, he can do that. But he can also take the negative and use it for a positive.
Yeah.
And so in my life, and I can speak only for my life, he took my negative situations and he equipped me so that I could use them for a positive in somebody else's life. So, please don't jump. That is coming from my negative. You're stronger than your situation. That is coming from my negative. And I love how he did not let it sit on my heart as just a negative, traumatic experience.
Yeah.
He allowed it to have to take form and have shape in such a way that I can do something positive with it, which is what I do.
Dolores, I have a question about, I wanted you to talk about the title a little bit more. Please don't jump. Like, where did that come from? And does it have any inference to your brother, having done a lot of...
And people say that, I get asked that because it's like, did I, he's his jump man and Air Jordan. And honestly, at the time, I didn't even think about that. It is so crazy that, that it's so crazy how the pieces lined up. Honestly, sure you read the book. I didn't plan on writing this book. This was not the book I was writing. I actually had been writing over the years a follow-up to In My Family Shadow. And because In My Family Shadow was so dark and it was so broken, I wrote it in the midst of so much pain. It is so raw. People, it's just raw, And so the next book was Walk It Out. It
was Walk It Out. Yep.
Walk It Out. And it was chronicling my journey from that level of brokenness to a life of joy. And so I called it Walk It Out. I didn't have any plans for, you're stronger than your situation. Please don't jump. It was not what I saw. So I was I just turned 64 on the weekend. And so, so my 60th birthday, my daughters took me to Arizona. And the year before, I referenced this in the book, I flew into California, rented a villa, got me a car, convertible, and I rode the coast for 7 days. That was my gift to myself.
Awesome.
At 59, had never done anything like that before. Matter of fact, my mom called me and she says, "Hey, where are you?" I said, "I'm in San Diego." She's like, "California?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You're out there for church?" I was like, "No, I jumped on the plane and I just flew out here and rented me a villa and got me a convertible." She said, "I like how you live." and it was just something I had never done. But so I became a travel junkie that year. And so when it came time for my 60th, my daughters asked me what did I want to do. And I'm like, well, let's keep the travel thing going. And so we ended up coming to Arizona. And my plans had been, they had a short weekend, a long weekend, but they were only going to be out there for 4 days. So I was going to, once they got on the plane, I was going to get me another convertible and I was going to ride Arizona for a week, and it didn't happen. I put them on the plane and I rented the convertible. And the very next day I woke up and there was like a cloud over me. I couldn't figure out what it was. Girl's gone, but I don't live with my daughter. So I'm used to being by myself. So I started writing. I started journaling, trying to journal out that mood and figure out what that was. And honest to goodness, the journaling took off to became writing this book. And I literally would get up in the morning and walk down. We had an Airbnb house, that pool, everything, beautiful backyard. I'll literally walk down the hall to the office in the house and stay there all day writing on this book. And when it took the turn towards suicide, you want me to write about what? Lord, I don't know anything about suicide, but my own experience. He said, that's what I want you to talk about. And then you're stronger than your situation. Please don't jump. It is, the essence of it is that our troubles, our trials in life will drive us to the edge of our life. And unless we have something to hold on, we're apt to jump off into suicide, into drugs, into, alcohol, into men, into women, into anything looking for an escape. And what my book does is it offers up Christ as an answer. So before you try any of those things, before you jump, suicide is final. There is no coming back from that. So before you take that final jump, try Christ. Suicide will always be there waiting on you if you find that God can't fix whatever it is that you are going through. So that is where, you're stronger than this your situation. Please don't jump. It ultimately talks about that your situation is not meant to destroy you. It feels like it when you're in it.
Yeah.
But just like you go to a gym and you build physical muscles, God allows some of our situations to build our mental muscles, our emotional muscles, our spiritual muscles. And, he's not accidentally allowing these things. He has a purpose for them. So if you can hold on and you can look beyond this moment, believe that you have enough strength to get beyond this moment, you will look back and say, wow, I'm glad I didn't jump.
Wow.
Well, I'm taking a look at the time and it goes by so fast. I mean, it races by. I think we should get to the unmasked question.
Yes, absolutely.
And then your takeaways, Dolores. We definitely want to hear those. So the unmasked question we have is, see if Kayla can put it up there for us. I'll read it. What is the number one barrier that causes you to become stuck in your situations? The number one barrier that causes you to become stuck in your situations. And we have some comments already going on in the chat here. There is while we look to see if we can address this question by our audience, there is a question in the chat for you, Dolores. I'm wondering, want to take it really, maybe you can take it quickly so we can get to your takeaways. How did you find God? How did you find him? Did you grow up in the church, or your parents introduced you to it? How did that come? Tell us quickly how that came about.
It's funny because I grew up going to church, but you could go to church. I go to church because that's what and we went to church every fourth Sunday because we were AME in the South, and and so we went to church every fourth Sunday. I saw my grandmom in church, but I didn't see God as my answer. And it's funny because my second marriage, which brought me to Pennsylvania, my husband would read the Bible. He knew the Bible inside out. And so some days he's a contractor. So some days I would want his attention and he would be reading the Bible. He said, baby, just sit here while he's reading. And so he wouldn't deviate from the Bible. If I wanted to be close to him, I ended up reading what he was reading. And when we went through a divorce, I knew enough to start going back to what I read, looking for some kind of answer. And that, that is the turning point of when I started seeing God as, I was in so much pain, and he was just another person that had hurt me. And so it was like, I was desperate.
Yeah.
And, in my desperation, I pulled up the Bible looking for something. They say there's answers in here. I need to find that answer.
Yeah.
And I went searching.
That's a great story. Let's see if we can get to your takeaways, your 3 takeaways. If you could give those to us, Dolores, we're going to put them on the screen for you, and then you can just.
I'm going to say, do I remember? Because I talk about so much.
The first.
Well, yeah, he doesn't give us more than we can bear, but he does allow us to be burdened with situations that sometimes seem unbearable. And there again goes back to he uses our situations to build things in us, to build our faith, to build our endurance, to build our perseverance, and also to bring us to him. It's never arbitrary. He does nothing arbitrarily. He's always purposeful. So our situation, I feel like, change the narrative for how you see your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of seeing it as something meant to break you, see it as something that's meant to strengthen you.
All right, nice. How about the second one?
Oh, look, we live in a time where hurting people are hurting people all the time. Yeah. Even our children are being hurt by hurting people. We just saw that happen in Nashville, in Tennessee. That's a hurting person, So if hurting people are hurting people, what might encouragement do to hurting people?
Nice. All right, and your third.
You know what? For me, you're stronger than your situation. Yes, these is made specifically to offer that mantra out. I put it on products for the sake of sending it out into our community. Somebody may see it. They may not tell you what they're hurting with, or that they need that word of encouragement. It could be the only encouragement that they get that day. Short story, in a restaurant in North Carolina, talking to some friends, talking about Yasties coming up, saying that God was, telling me to do it, We all was catching up, hadn't seen each other in several years. So each was talking about what was going on in their life. I voiced about Yasties. I was nagging me about doing Yasties. I had not put Yasties out on the market yet. Moved on beyond that conversation, moved on to something else. A woman and her daughter, older, senior citizen and middle-aged daughter, stopped by the table and said, "I'm so sorry to be interrupting your conversation, but I could not leave here without letting you know that I have been toiling with something all day long, asking God for a word. And I heard you say," I wasn't trying to eardrop it in your, but I heard this and my spirit quickened when you say you're stronger than your situation. And I believe that was God letting me hear you so I could get an answer for what I was that was troubling me that day. And my thing, like, okay, God, I hear you. I am going to do this, because she was confirmation for me too, I was like, oh my God. Okay, God, I'm going to do it. And so now I'm doing it. So what I want to say to your audience, get a product, get a t-shirt, get a sweatshirt, get whatever. It's not just, it will encourage you, because as you say the words, you also are reminding yourself of your strength. But then wear it and take it into the community, because you have no idea who might need to hear that. It could be the thing that turns them away from suicide that day.
Yeah.
Or turns them away from picking up a gun. Because they hurt and they want other people to hurt with them.
Yeah. Great. Those are some strong takeaways. We are going to run right into the raffle now. I think Kayla probably should have captured everyone's name. Yes, it looks like so. And she put my name in there. All right, Kayla, I see you. Let's see. Oh my gosh.
All right, Suke. Yay, congratulations. Yes. Congratulations.
I need the mailing address for the winner, please. All right. Dolores, Cheryl and I are so grateful that you spent this time with us. You see how fast the time goes? It whizzes by. And we're beyond time now, so we're going to thank you so much for being
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Is there a website you want people to go to that we should name right quickly?
Ideally, yes. These www.yasties, YASTYS, YASTYS, which is the acronym for the mantra, you are stronger than your
Yeah.
situation.com.
Mhm.
Awesome. With that, we're going to say goodbye, everyone. We love you. See you next
Thank
week.
you.
All righty.
Thanks, Dolores. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
And you can say that I'm crazy,